Today we're going to talk about something very dear to my heart. Public speaking for techies presenting to non-techies. We've all been there, right? Sitting through a boring technical presentation, trying to make some sense between all the technical jargon and detailed flowcharts. I absolutely get it. I'm a techie myself. I actually have a master in computer science, and I've spent more than a decade in the IT industry. So I absolutely understand that struggle. I've presented myself to non-techies many times, and I've watched my colleagues presenting to non-techies as well. And so today, I'm sharing with you 6 public speaking tips for techies presenting to non-techies. Now, if you are a non-techie yourself, these tips work for absolutely all of the presentations, so stay with me. I'm Victoria Lioznyansky, and I help introverted entrepreneurs overcome their fear of public speaking and transform into confident, compelling, and captivating speakers. Tip number 1, make it relevant. This is probably the most important piece of advice I can give you. Most of the time when a techie presents to non-techies have no idea why they're listening to it. It has to be relevant to them. It has to be for them. It has to benefit them, and they have to understand exactly how it benefits them. And to help you, you should think of your audience asking you a question after every sentence out of your mouth. And that question would be, and so what? Right? So anytime you speak, you should immediately think, what if my audience asks me, and so what? And so what means, how does it benefit me? Why am I here listening to you? If your audience doesn't feel that what you're talking about is relevant to them, you lost them. Tip number 2, explain everything to your audience as if they were 7th graders. And I don't mean to dumb it down. I just mean don't use really big words. Don't use too much technical jargon. Because once you start inserting technical jargon and your audience doesn't know those terms, you've lost them. And once you've lost them, it's going to be almost impossible to bring them back. So my advice to you is, if you absolutely must use technical jargon, first of all, minimize it. Bare minimum. Second, make sure that you define all of those terms for your audience. And when you define technical jargon, make sure that you're using easy words, because if you're defining your technical jargon with technical jargon, that defeats the purpose. So remember, do not lose your audience. Make sure that they understand everything, because if they understand, they're going to get excited, and that's exactly what you want to happen. Tip number 3, use lots of examples, analogies, stories, and jokes. Talk to your audience rather than lecture them. Imagine that your non-techie audience are your dear friends, and they're sitting in your living room. You wouldn't lecture them, right? You would have a conversation. And as a part of that conversation, you would probably tell them stories to make that idea come to life. You would paint mental pictures in their mind so that they can see it. You would give them analogies so that they can see how it relates to them, how it relates to their life, and how it relates to the whole world around you. You may even crack some jokes. You would make it alive and real and engaging and captivating. You would make it a conversation. Don't look at your presentation as a lecture. It is not a lecture. It is a conversation. And only through a real conversation with examples and stories and jokes and analogies, you can make your idea come alive and become contagious. Tip number 4, do not overwhelm the audience with your knowledge. Not only you should make it relevant to your audience, but you should also make it simple for them to digest. Don't include complicated flowcharts and really detailed diagrams, particularly those that require your audience to have 20/20 vision. They don't need all of that. Only give them the essentials, only what they absolutely must know. Keep it simple. Tip number 5, do not use your slides as a crutch. Techies love their slides, right? How many times have you seen a presentation where a techie is presenting, reading off of the slides with his or her back to the audience? Plenty. First of all, number one, you never ever read off of your slides. You never stand with your back to your audience. How are you going to be engaging and captivating if all they see is the back of your head? How are you going to have a conversation? Have you ever had a conversation with your friends where you're standing with your back to them? It just doesn't work this way. So never ever turn your back to the audience and read. Secondly, when we left-brainers create slides, we tend to favor bullet points, right? Have you seen those long slides with 10 bullet points per slide? Yeah, doesn't work. Your audience falls asleep. It's extremely boring to stare at a slide with 10 bullet points. So what you need to do instead is you're going to take your bullet points and you're going to break them up, 1 bullet point per slide. You can read that bullet point, but it's short, right? So you can read your bullet point, but then you talk around it. Then you're having a conversation with your audience about that bullet point. Then you go to the next slide. Here's your second bullet point. Again, you can read it if you want to. And some research has proved that when you're reading that 1 bullet point and the audience can hear and read it themselves on screen and it's the same, they actually remember it better. So you can go ahead and read that 1 bullet point, but then again, you are talking around it. You're having a conversation with stories, analogies, examples, and jokes around that 1 bullet point. Make it engaging. Tip number 6, practice in front of a non-techie to get constructive feedback. This is important. A lot of techies practice, of course, but very often they practice either by themselves or they practice in front of their techie colleagues. And so what you want to do is you want to practice in front of non-techies, because your techie colleagues won't give you quite the same feedback. And when you're practicing in front of your non-techie friends or colleagues, you need to ask them to give you feedback on 2 things. Number 1, on your content, and number 2, on your delivery, because both are important, right? So you're not only going to ask, was my talk interesting? Did you understand everything? Was something unclear? Were you excited about the ideas that I shared? But you also want to ask them about your style of delivery and how your delivery went. Was I engaging? Was I captivating? Was it interesting to both hear me and to watch me? Was I passionate about my topic? How did you feel about my delivery? And here are your 6 tips again. Tip number 1, make it relevant. Tip number 2, explain everything to your audience as if they were 7th graders. Tip number 3, use lots of examples, analogies, stories, and jokes. Tip number 4, do not overwhelm the audience with your knowledge. Tip number 5, do not use your slides as a crutch. Tip number 6, practice in front of a non-techie to get constructive feedback. Here you go. I hope this has been helpful. And if you're looking for more advice on overcoming fear of public speaking and becoming a confident, compelling, and captivating speaker, then I have free training for you. You can get it at www.byvictorial.com/training. And I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Take care.